Hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Zesha, and today we are doing that big one 2025 reading wrap up. I thought long how I was going to record this video and what I should say or should not say, but then I thought let's keep it simple because this is my first yearly wrap up on YouTube. So I'm going to keep it simple with just reading stats, what I read, and then switch to best books I read and some of the disappointing books I came across. So let's get into it. So 2025 was a good reading year for me. It was not a genius level, but it was a solid reading year. And here is my Goodreads stats. I read total 102 books with 30,000 plus pages, and here is the longest book, shortest book, average rating. And while you go through all the books I read, scroll. Let me tell you, the most read genre was romance and fantasy and also fiction. I couldn't divide it into subgenre category, but this year I'm planning to make it more specific when I make my Excel spreadsheet. Most books I read were in ebook format. Mostly they were from NetGalley. I received from publishers. Some were physical, and some were my own. And there were also some Kindle Unlimited books that I read. Plans were made, and I definitely ignored them all. I went with the mood reading more this year, and hopefully, I will continue mood read in 2026. There were plenty of short books I read in 2025 that saved me many times, and that is why I could hit that 100 books in 2025. Looking at that average rating, you can see there were plenty four-star, five-star reads in 2025. Some were really good, some were surprising, some were shocking, and some stayed with me for days. And those were the wins. Those were the most favorite books of 2025 that I'm going to list there now. First was Lady's Formula for Love by Elizabeth Everett. This is first in a Secret Scientist of London series, and the book like this makes me want to read more historical romances. And after reading this, I prefer historical romance more than modern romances because this had everything I want in romance book, from witty banter to chemistry to tension and drama, memorable characters, side characters, and it was all wrapped in a Victorian setting, making this a perfect read of the year. Like I said, followed by this, I read the whole series, and I also read the spin-off series that was Denzels of Discovery, and I'm going to read everything Elizabeth Everett writes from now on. Next on the list is Housemaid Secret. I read all three books in the Housemaid series. The first one was I liked it, but I found it a little bit predictable. Third one was I didn't like it. It was just. But second, The Housemaid Secret was full of twists and turns. I didn't see them coming, and it was just amazing with lots of tension, and it just left me staring at the pages for a long time. So yeah, obviously this was my most favorite in the series. Next is Valley of Fear. This was I think sixth book in the Sherlock Holmes series. By the way, I completed whole series in 2025, and I really enjoyed this one. It was atmospheric, dark, tense. There was that chilling, deadly vibe throughout the book that I really enjoyed. Valley of Fear definitely stood out the most in entire Sherlock Holmes series. Next on the list is Little Women, and I can't believe it took me this long to read this book. And I was kicking myself why I did not read Little Women before that. Absolutely love March family and warmth and emotions they gave. This was the most coziest and warmest book I read in 2025. Each March sisters are distinct, real. Joy is definitely my favorite, and I so want to read other books in this series and hopefully in 2026. So this has to be on the list, and it is if it makes you happy. I so loved small town. setting, found family, 90s nostalgic vibe, slow burn romance. It was the coziest and comfort read in the truest sense. It definitely made me happy reading it. People we meet on a vacation. In 2025, I read Emily Henry books for the first time. People We Meet on a Vacation was my first book by the author, and it is still my favorite among all the other books I read by the author in 2025. The Friends to Lovers romance and all their vacations, 10 years span of relationship, and slow burn romance. It was all just packed so well in this book. And what I loved most about this book is that it isn't just romance. There is so many layers, and it was all beautifully written in this book. Did you watch the movie? Because I did, and I liked it, but book is still my favorite. Next is Happy Place. Like People We Meet on a Vacation, this also explores long term relationship, and I think I'm starting to like this long term relationship in contemporary, because there is something beautiful about it, and how authors represents characters with before and now perspectives, and how they grow over the time along with the plot. It's just amazing, and I love that in Happy Place. Again, this was also beautifully layered and well written, deeply human. I loved the idea it explores that love isn't about finding a perfect person, but it's about staying with that person and choosing that person over and over again. It's been a long time. I read a vampire book, and in 2025, I started a vampire fantasy series, The Crowns of Nicaea. When I started this series, I did not really know what to expect from it. And I was even more surprised that two books of this series turned out my most favorite of the year, and that was book one and book four. Book one, that is The Serpent and Wings of Night. It was really amazing. Vampire fantasy. It gives everything we want in a fantasy, with a tournament competition, dark and atmospheric world, morally grey characters, lots of actions, twists and turns, and of course, my favorite female main character. It was amazing series starter. Book 4, The Fallen and Kiss of Dusk. This somehow turned out even better than the book 1. I just loved how the world expanded in this book. Everything was amazing, with from twists and turns to tension. There was war between gods, humans, vampires, and main characters was just fierce, and I loved how fiercely they fought everything and everyone to be with each other. Now coming back to disappointing reads. Yes, there are few, not that many, but there were few disappointing reads in 2025, and on the top of the list is Kalki Trilogy. So I went into this book, first book, with low expectation, and surprisingly, even with the low expectation, this turned out disappointing. If if you ask me why I continued reading, even though I didn't like the first book, because I will say I just wanted to see if this book improves, of if the plot improves, if the character improves, but nada. Writing was okay, execution was poor. This world had so much potential that it literally pained to see it crumble by the end of the book or the series. Kalki Trilogy was the most disappointing series I read in 2025, and the next on the list is Modern Divination. Modern Divination started strong with a dark academia vibe and a murder mystery, but it quickly unraveled. The world building felt incomplete. The key points or main scenes of the plot felt underexplained. There wasn't even a proper introduction to the world, and some of the scenes were really confusing. There were lots of gaps that were left for readers to fill in. So, yes, this left me frustrated and unsatisfied by the end of the book, and I didn't really enjoy it at all. So that's a wrap. Let me know in the comments if you have read any of this book or plan to read in 2026. And also let me know what was your best read and disappointing read of 2025, and the best book of your list that I should read in 2026. If you like this video, please like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit that hype button. See you next time.